Yeah, IHF, Jack your ish. IHF, never jack nothing in a long time. Or y'all like to diss Mars. Y'all still listen to Bashir and Ali Muhammad with his fake temple degree. Reggie the doctor, no doctorate. Men admitting they got weave in their hair lock. Even if you were a stone, I wouldn't say you rock. What I say to you flock, stop listening to Seti. Backing up Farrakhan, but you didn't listen to Betty. Didn't listen to Aleem Bay, much less research. Don't think I respect blacks and more t-shirts. Stateless trolls, YouTube comment inventors. So conscious but checking off black on the census. Blaming your suffering on America, not you.s. Saying more sold you out when you sold yourself. Sold by your own Adanga kings on African thrones. No honor your ancestors. I see them slapping your domes, clapping your chromes at targets, never clap at the devil. Unconscious Moors calling themselves what the pot called the kettle.
One never sleep, cause sleep is the cause of the devil. One never sleep, cause of the devil. One never sleep, cause sleep is the cause of the devil.
There's no debate, Moors deflate egos of the world's most known disgraced people. Choosing to have no national name or profit. They claim he plagiarized the European nigga, stop it. Rami El Asaf and Canaanland Moors prove that wrong. If you're still thinking the same, that's cracking your bong. Listening to Shaka is like listening to whack rappers or any of the HOK patriarchal actors. Frontin' conscious sucking straws, acting all fruity, making a killing off lectures, but won't support natural Tahuti. Claiming Khalid is their general, but won't follow orders. Taking advice from the cracker-taught attorneys and lawyers. Keeping the people dumbed down, not thinking. Keep pushing lies on Mars, so our truth won't sink in. It will for the few who know to keep it simple. Ron Artest even corrected his name to one of the prophet's principles.
One never sleep, cause sleep is the cause of the devil. One never sleep, cause of the devil. One never sleep, cause sleep is the cause of the devil.
Nothing more can be said, no pun intended. With no study, what we say won't be comprehended. Some of y'all love the lies from these conscious guys, calling you colors and shades, hiding their lying eyes, trying to make Moors look bad. We couldn't care less. Moors stay upright, aboriginal, independent, and fearless. We might bare necks, no need to bear arms or chests. Dr. Reggie has a Moorhead on his family crest. Polite nose, calling yourself black means you're dead. He said it and recorded it, so we won't forget it. Phil Valentine and Dr. Blair know they're Moors too. So in my Ms. voice I ask, what's wrong with you? Why you stay in the stateless and have no clue? Your name, nationality, and title brought back by Drew. Then you say, what's wrong with me? Like I have a problem. Putting conscious blacks head in the news, solving the Negro problem.
One never sleep, cause sleep is the cause of the devil. One never sleep, cause of the devil. One never sleep, cause sleep is the cause of the devil.
Well, these were African Arab, Asian values. The only section of Europe that had a high value system during the Dark Ages were those on the Iberian Peninsula in the Spanish, Portuguese area, southern France. And that high state of culture existed there because Africans, known as Moors, had come there and brought it there. So,
Woogie, play that shit.
Jello Beats, holla at 'em.
NBPP, ain't BPP. I'm telling y'all, no win with a lawyer, so don't ask me. I know y'all are Moors, just ask General Khalid. The General.
Slum. I'm a Moor, and got sense enough to know I'm a Moor. and ain't gonna never argue with you, then I'm not a Moor.
The general said he's a more NBPP, won't take heed. Your greed for his name, fame, got you skunk drunk. You never pull the trigger, just pose with the shotguns pumped. Waiting and hating, showing no love, but you're showing bacon. Licenses for ID at the police station. On top of that, no rights reserved on the contract. Dirty Moors finesse masters use old leaders to con cats. Show their picture but won't use their best quotes. Only use the ones to bring in fiat notes from scapegoats. Kwame Toure's wife even wore a fez at their wedding. A snicker at SNCC and all black organizations begging. Walking with limbs peg-legging. These conscious pirates, fake freedom warners getting no ratings when I'm irate. Conscious. 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 Sarnetta sat down with Taj Bey one-on-one. Suitin Yeti is my target, Aleem Bey is my gun. All I do is crush a lot truth. My big pun and Fat Joe falling on you 50 feet below. Mike Fatso, mock conscious coons, frauds up with my firing squad. Tugging at emotions hard like sleeping, pulling a quad. Larry's no professor, show me some doctorate degree, son. Won't listen to I'm African crap until I see one. I'm not asking for much, cause I give more than I ask for. Moorish MC, lay it down hot like asphalt. I won't cool though, some call me Fool Joe. Trying to get under my skin, you must be a new bro. Old foe get scolded slow, lash with the tongue strap. Conscious coons wanna be Gay-Z and make a comeback. Not on my watch, flow till time stops. Left in shock cause the rhyme doc. Open up your mind blocks. Conscious. 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 Conscious.
Other one,
Galatians.
Malicious.
Oh, Galatians.
Galatians. We have them there. Now, these are church documents. But remember, when there came a time in 1506, after we lost power in Spain, the Africans ruled Spain from 711. We were calling ourselves Moors, M-A-U-E-R-S, then M-O-O-R-S. From 711 until 1485, 774 years, when we built and brought into Europe the university system, building the University of Salamanca, S-A-L-A-M-A-N-C-A in Spain, a copy of the university.
The white man today will tell you that thousands of years ago, the black man in Africa was living in palaces. The black man in Africa was wearing clothes.
As we race for a new day, give praise and acknowledge. The sun rays lift my black skin, turn solidly, absorbing the natural energy. Like the cocoa and yam crop flourish abundantly, like it was meant to be. Eating jelly plum until my gums are numb. But my brothers are still young, guess I should pick them some. I gotta share but a shine without a bruise or blemish. Who would've known we would encounter a fate so hellish? Our strength is unprecedented from here to Kemet. Driven by righteous incentives, we innovative and inventive. My father does metalwork, fire, mold, metal, goldsmith. Warrior tribe will survive if we stay close-knit. We lived our lives through good vibes until the wicked man that lied arrived. Offering bribes, waving guns and knives. They came from an ignorant nation, lacking pigmentation. Do you remember conversation or this confrontation?
The black man in Africa had mastered the arts and the sciences. He knew the course of the stars in the universe before the man up in Europe knew that the earth wasn't flat. Then if the black man in Africa had reached such a high state of civilization so long ago, at a time when the people of Europe were crawling on their own shores.
One of us take me dead for nothing. Slave ship packed to the back, man in the fam stack, raving and fussing. Rave ran cussing out of when there's something in my last part, my bedroom with the map way is disgusting. Right now I would love a man moving in this space. I'm losing my mind, I need space. Vomit and fish stress up in the place, it was sickness. Gotta beg you reach, make haste. While we lie down, some cries die down. I do anything to see my village on my eyes now. Good grief for them mama shriek inside. It's a bad something we ain't ready to see. Ain't nothing this deep since more Moses led the Israelites out Egypt into the Great Red Sea. I'm saying, deep down, these are the works of a sinister gender. Wicked splendor, do you remember?
To make these people or enable these people to come out of the cave and come down into our civilization and take it over and hitch us to the plow. What happened? How did they do it? These are the things you should want to find out before you say hooray, hooray, hooray. Is that right or wrong?
I'm sitting on a branch of my mango tree, sucking a Julie, saw a ship and tucking my jewelry. They moored the boat off the shore, it kinda moved me. This is the Mississippi River, not a slave movie. People looking like me, chain, ankle, and wrist. Paleo lift hit my bros and sis with whips. Not knowing better, thought I can't let this slide. Suddenly something that flew started burning my eyes. Kicks to my ribs, burning my sides. Plus no one knows that I'm gone. Birds sing a sorrowful song. Soon I'm shackled with them and the horror goes on. Walking for miles, winter weather burning my corns. Destination unknown, many died, those kept alive became property of the enemy tribes. Should I take my life? I couldn't decide. From master to a prisoner at the blink of an eye. Why?
How could so few white people rule so many black people? This is the thing you should want to know.
Said black means death, but y'all blind and deaf and can't read truth you can't find. Miss Drew Ali lessons waiting for Jesus. Teaching lies is competence, nigga doesn't mean niggas. More doesn't mean black, it means more bite. And high priest of a new, holding the marvelous light. 7 orbs in our palm, we are ancients return. From the line of roots, skin looks like brass burn. Hair looks like said black means death, but y'all blind and deaf and can't read truth you can't find. Miss Drew Ali lessons waiting for Jesus. Teaching lies is competence, nigga doesn't mean niggas. More doesn't mean black, it means more bite. And high priest of a new, holding the marvelous light. 7 orbs in our palm, we are ancients return. From the line of roots, skin looks like brass burn. Hair looks like Zoroaster, face of an old neck. Sundial is my watch, FOH with your Rolex. Major not minority, no clicking heels like Dorothy. Flames on a straw man, no joining their sorority. Great Seal is not Illuminati, but Moorish. Disrespect Moors and we might get boorish. We're in our own land, fam, don't call me a tourist. I use the floor more, fine-tuning my auras. Let them know that I'm back in the booth, back for the youth. Words coming out of mouth is the truth. Let them know that you're back in the booth, back for the youth. Words coming out of mouth is the truth. Let them know that I'm back in the booth, back for the youth. Words coming out of mouth is the truth. Let them know that you're back in the booth, back for the youth. Words coming out of mouth is the truth.
Get your foot up off my ottoman. Empire built for an Ottoman. Never mix me up for them other men. I'm writing with an iron pen. Good life and not a gym. Born in an empire, not a sin. Moorish American, round table, Moorish ordering. I am feminine and masculine. Principle, rights inalienable. So I'm able. Now Cain wants to kill me. Biblical. My brother who pretends to be brotherly. Try to put me back in slavery. Confederate flags under my cherry tree. Washington cut it down, but Washington is still in me. Moors, yo, I speak the tongue, uplift the blind, the deaf, the dumb, and everything is mine, you some. Legislative act, municipal outcomes. Animal farm, I see the reruns. Nation never cared for a president. Trudeau in a turban, that's evident. Major, not minor, that's permanent.
Let them know that I'm back in the booth, back for the youth. Words coming out of mouth is the truth. Let them know that you're back in the booth, back for the youth. Words coming out of mouth is the truth. Let them know that I'm back in the booth, back for the youth. Words coming out of mouth is the truth. Let them know that you're back in the booth, back for the youth. Words coming out of mouth is the truth. Peace and love, Moors. Islam. Happy Holy Day to all the Moors worldwide. Happy Holy Day to all the Moors. Honors to all the Moors. Honors to the Moors in the chat. Honors to all mothers. Guess what month it is? Guess what month it is? It's February. So here we go. As usual, Canaanland Moors correcting Black history. So look out on the YouTube. You know, we're gonna have some correcting Black history. We're gonna have some correcting Black history lives. Just so we could correct. Just a reminder. Venues to be announced. But Noble Drew Ali's the man. And the Moors want it, so they're getting it. So we got the Love, Truth, Peace, Freedom, Justice Tour 2024. February 24th, the first stop, Aurora, Colorado. So we out there with the Moors where the mountains are at. Go see those Moors. Love, Truth, Peace, Freedom, Justice Tour there. And April 27th, Springfield, Massachusetts. Friendly the Moors who are, near Springfield, want to stop by. We'll be there. Because it's all about Drew Ali and giving him his honors. It's all about him getting acknowledgement. So we're taking the show on the road, May 4th, Phoenix, Arizona. So we're letting you know that we're bringing it back. We're bringing it back to you got to go to a lecture if you want it. We're bringing it back to lecture format. They lifted the stuff. They lifted the thing. The thing. The thing that they said we needed, but we still did. Love, Truth, Peace, Freedom, and Justice Tour 2023. We still did it. So either they're giving Moors passes or there was a matrix glitch. Because word was no traveling because of the thing. But Noble Drew Ali got through anyways and was able to do what he was supposed to do. Just get this to the hedges and the highways. And all the Moors who participated in the first Love, Truth, Peace, Freedom, and Justice Tour, they're still talking about it, which is why we're doing 2024 now. Because why not? 23 was a hit. 23 was a hit. If you don't think so, just go back and watch the Love, Truth, Peace, Freedom, Justice Tour playlist from 2023. If you think it's not real, if you think there's no Moorish unity, and Moors don't connect, and Moors don't love each other and all that. Drew Ali set the standard for us. And again, talk about any other Moors. The Moors that I roll with, the Moors that I know, that you're not just some DM Moors. These are personal relationships. These are personal. These are Moors able to build with each other without any BS coming in between them. No BS. Mothers are able to build with each other and solve their issues as mothers, because their sons are not invited. And don't get mad and don't go over there try to have your own meetings. You're not the matriarchs. You don't need to meet about jack. You just go do the work. Just grab a shovel. You don't worry where the water is. You need to go to where's the washroom and all that stuff. When it's time, someone will show you. Go do the work that needs to get done. Just because of Moorish nationality and birthrights. I'm saying people have personal issues happening in their lives, and they're able to talk to Moors and figure it out after they talked to the psychologist and couldn't figure it out, after they talked to the drug rehab whoever and they couldn't figure it out, after they did time in prison, couldn't figure it out, after their wife left them, they couldn't figure it out, after whatever happened, it never registered. As soon as they got a Moorish science, they build with some Moors. Now everything's flowing how it's supposed to. Now everything's flowing how it's supposed to. Just because of Moorish science. So we give honors to Noble Drew Ali. And to honor him, we're taking him on the road. We're taking his literature to anywhere where there's Asiatics. And the first stop is Aurora, Colorado. Never been there. Springfield, been there. Phoenix, never been there. And then there's some more that's already set up, but we don't want to give too much at once. We don't give too much at once. Not hiding or no conspiracy, nothing like that. We just don't want to give too much at once. Let's focus on Colorado. That's the first stop. Right? End of February. So if you know people there, let them know that they want to know about Noble Drew Ali. Don't go ask black guys. Don't go ask Indians. Don't go ask church whoever. Don't go ask Islamic whoever's. Don't ask UNIA or Nation of Islam. Don't ask them. Ask Moors about Noble Drew Ali. Don't ask the modern European. Don't ask the pale Arab. If you want to know about Noble Drew Ali, ask Moors. So we're bringing Noble Drew Ali to you. And then whoever's there, that's who this is for. Because we're only concerned with the two in the back who know that their conditions could be better and they want it to change. Just the two in the back. Because trust me, we've been doing this since 2008. And the amount of people who came to this and left since 2008, if they stayed and paid their dues and all that stuff, we'll probably have 500 members out here. We probably have 500 members out here right now. If we started in 2008, 500, like every month, pay their dues, no questions asked. No, well, I heard from those Moors over there, so I'm gonna go join them now. Oh, well, you're not gonna make me claim the birth certificate, so I'm gonna leave the temple and I'm gonna go over here and start my own thing. And since 2008. So we already know this isn't for everybody. This is only for few. That's why Drew Ali told Moors, few faithful Moors. Few faithful Moors. So that's all we cater to, the few. And in the few, it's crazy. The Moors who I've had phone conversations with, that you wouldn't believe these people are Moors. And they know what's up. They know what's up. So it's been a lot repping for Drew Ali. And it's been a lot in the most positive, fulfilling, uplifting, soothing, satisfying way. Knowing who Noble Drew Ali is. Knowing about Moorish nationality. It's been a ride. Crazy. So we honor him. It's not some worshiping or how people talk about Moors and Noble Drew Ali, some cult or something like that. It's nothing like that. If you want to know about Moors and Noble Drew Ali, ask Moors. We'll put you on game. We'll put you on game. Let Moors do it. All right? Let Moors do it. So we're going to go again to one of the references that we brought up. One of the references we brought up. One of the references we brought up. Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams. That all ALL of the Black conscious UNIA, Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. Ben, whoever people, all of them people have a library, and in their library, all of them have this book. All of them have it. They can't say they don't have it because I already know they have it. Why they have it? Specifically because it's talking about Black civilization. And we're Black people. And because we're Black people, we know this is about us. Because the Black man has been struggling so many years because the white man, whatever. And the Black man walking barefoot and they put the women, tie them to horses, tear them apart and stomp their babies and all that. And hung the Black man on the tree because the Black man wanted to be free, and the white devils and whatever. Like, we gravitated to this because it was about our liberation. It was about us realizing and being able to appreciate that our foremothers and forefathers didn't just sit there and take it from the colonizer. Our ancestors fought for us to be where we're at. And over, let's see, so 1995 to 2000, 1995 to 2000 was the time frame where being in the black realm through Rastafarianism. 95 through Rastafarianism. Connected with the Black and our people and civilization. In that time frame, did youth work, going to schools and libraries, youth groups, just doing programs. Every Black History Month, doing programs. For years, saying 95 to 2000. Right? Doing, going to lectures, and then getting into actually presenting this to others, having our own workshops just to introduce people to, we're not some slaves. We have civilization. And this was one of the ones that you always pull out. It's one of the ones that you always pull out. And in the black realm, it's one of the ones that I always pull out. It's crazy that only until you got to more science, only until you got to more science, only until that did this stand out so, it stood out so profoundly, because had this book in the library since 95, had this book in the library. Right. Again, when we're talking about our people, right, don't know their self, we say we're going to have a library. Right? We say that to ourselves. We're going to, right, dedicate it to the black youth of the 1960s for beginning the second emancipation, liberation of our minds, and thus changing the course of history. Liberation of our minds in order to change the course of history. Right? Our minds. Right? So this is 74. They've had this info. Right? Because one of the things, once you get into the Moorish paradigm, you revisit the past study material, because with a Moorish mind, you see things totally different. In the Muslim destruction of the Songhai Empire, the main centers of learning, with all of their precious libraries and original manuscripts, were destroyed first. Then the age-old practice of seizing all men of learning and skilled craftsmen for enslavement and service to the conquerors. Foremost among those captured and carried off to the Maghreb was Ahmed Babo. There he was treated as an honored guest and instructed to use his great learning in the service of his conquerors, the Moors. So if these Muslim whoever's are going to destroy an empire, does it make sense that they treat their captor as an honored guest? Like why would they seize all men of learning and craftsmen and enslave them? But then these so-called conquerors are giving people honored guest status. So they're putting a slight on the Moors, that the Moors are conquerors. But the reality is everybody honors the Moors. Why they still have Alhambra up there if they conquered them? They destroy all their stuff when they conquer them. Isn't that what I people are doing to P people right now?
And they conquer them, they tear down all their stuff, right? What's Alhambra doing there still? You think some tunnel they found some Jews built that? Do you think the Jews built that? Stop the BS. The Moors are the founders of civilization. This is why, even though these people's boy, Chancellor Williams, told them the Moors are conquerors, even though he told them the Moors are conquerors and they destroyed the Songhai Empire, and all the African scholar, educator, whoever is going to be, yeah, we're not Moors. See what the Moors did? The Moors did, right? Even though that's how they're going to react after him talking like this. This is where he goes with it. And there's only Marrakesh Society, who I also heard bring up this part. And they're Moors too. They're clean, dirty, whatever, disappear Moors, whatever they are, whatever kind of Moors they are, they're Moors. Everybody knows that they're Moors. They know that they're Moors. So again, if you really want to know, you're not going to go to black guys. Go to the Moors. Now again, just who were the Moors? The answer is very easy. The original Moors, like the original Egyptians, were black Africans. The original Moors nationality, like the original Egyptians nationality, were black Africans description. So black's not the identity, African's not the identity. That's descriptive. The identity is Moors and original Egyptians. And if your dumbass considers yourself black or African, guess what, dumbass? You're a Moor. Because the Moors and the original Egyptians were black Africans. You say that you're black, right? Yeah. You say you're African American, right? Yeah. Africans in there, right? Yeah. So how are you not Moors? This is why it's about correcting black history. Because they've been teaching you about Chancellor Williams and destruction of black civilization all wrong. Which is why you can't figure this stuff out. But it takes Moors to put you on game. Everybody knows Chancellor Williams. Everybody knows black and African are not our identity. That's descriptive. Black, African, American, those aren't identities. Those are nations of people. There's no black, African, American nations of people. People don't come from continents. And people aren't adjectives. People come from countries. They don't come from continents. Anybody said that they're a continent, they're a fiction. They're a liar. Because people come from countries, not continents. And black is an adjective. And people are proper noun. The original Egyptians now. Go to George G.M. James in Stolen Legacy, and he tells you that the ancient Egyptians made the Moors the custodians of all the ancient knowledge. So it's a theme amongst the historians who actually study history that the people called the Egyptians and the people called the Moors, their family, their relatives. And just like the Moors inherited the ancient Egyptian empire that spread all the way over here, I think over here is Egypt too. I think over here is Morocco and Egypt. Because it's North Africa. And North Africa is where the Egyptians and the Moors are from. But they weren't black and they weren't Africans. That's just descriptive. And as soon as it registers in our people's head that misnomers are descriptive and not the identity, then they would start thinking about, well, what's the identity? Because if we've been calling ourselves all these different names for all these years and nothing's changed, it's the same conditions, then it has to be something with our identity. Has to be identity. That's the problem. Because when we look at everybody else, they don't identify themselves by adjective and continents. Everybody else has a nationality. That's not opinion. That's a fact. And you can either accept the fact or keep on in your Dred Scott jurisdiction. Carry on. We could care less. We're upright, independent, and fearless. The original Moors, like the original Egyptians, were black Africans. None of the original blacks were black Africans. No, the original Moors. And Moor and Egyptian doesn't mean black. As amalgamation became more and more widespread, only the Berbers, Arabs, and coloreds in Moroccan territories were called Moors. Only the Berbers, Arabs, and coloreds in Moroccan territories were called Moors. Now, if America is Morocco, the farthest west, then America is a Moroccan territory, right? If I'm going to talk to some pale Arabs from over there, even some Moroccans from over there, and they see me with a Moroccan flag on, patch, hat, jacket with it on it, whatever, they're going to say, hey, Morocco. And then they're going to start talking Arabic. And we're going to look at them and we're going to say, no, Maghreb Al-Aqsa. Morocco over here. Oh, I know. Morocco. Yeah, Morocco. Then they start the brother thing and all that. That happened in America. That a pale Arab said, yes, I know over here is Morocco. I know that over here is Morocco. How do you know that? Now he knows English. I'm talking about his degrees that he got. Because he had to be a cab driver. He had to be a cab driver because his doctorate degree where he's from meant nothing here. Or his doctorate degree where he went to school meant nothing here. So he had to go to school all over again. I went to school all over again here to get a job here. And then he bumps into a Moor who knows that they're a Moor and that they're not black. And he's asking the Moor, the pale Arab is asking the Moor, how do you know that America is Morocco? Like, how do you know that? I've seen people who look like you. I've spoken to people who look like you. I've been here. I went to school here and all that. Never in my life have I heard someone who looks like you, that I would think you're a black man or whatever like that, tell me that America's Morocco. Well, you know, I study, I read books and all that stuff. Yeah, your people need to read books. Because that's amazing that you know that America's Morocco. This is a pale Arab. So as amalgamation became more widespread, so as the people started getting paler and paler in these areas that the Moors were ruling, they couldn't say everybody's Moors. So the distinction was Berbers, Arabs, and coloreds in Moroccan territories were called Moors, while the darkest and black-skinned Africans were called blackamoors. Eventually, black was dropped from blackamoor, and then they just kept calling you black, and that's how you became black people. Because you were really blackamoors, because you were the darkest black-skinned Africans that were roaming the earth plane. And you were so dark, they called you blackamoor. Right? So as you see, now let's look at what's going on here, right? So as you see, right, it says blackamoors, and then it says black here, but it's not capitalized. How come they didn't capitalize this black, but they capitalized this one? Because when you look up blackamoor, it's going to tell you that the black is the adjective and the Moors is the noun. Right? And then you see what they did here, that they put the capital B and then they put the small m, where up here they have the capital M. Right, now remember as well, this is important. This is important. Revised edition 1974, Third World Press, Chicago, Illinois. manufactured in the United States of America. Now, when you study the scholars, and I remember one of the Moorish scholars, Jose Pimienta Bay, talking about it, that books printed in the United States of America, they're going to switch stuff. They're going to put stuff in there messed up to throw you off, because their duty is the colonization of the quote-unquote African minds out here. So they can't do it how they really want to do it. They have to mask. They have to change things. They have to alter. They have to alter. So eventually, Blackamoor turned to black, and they stopped calling you Blackamoors Blackamoors. They just called you black, and you fell for it. And then all the other people in the Moroccan territories, the Berbers, the Arabs, and the Coloreds, they kept being called Moors and ended up inheriting everything after the Moors fell. That's why all the Masonic whoever's, who they say is Illuminati and all that, they have to dress up like Moors, wearing fezzes and going to Arabic named temples and Egyptian named temples. How come none of their temples are called European names? How come everything is Moorish and Egyptian? The logo is Moorish and Egyptian. The lettering Egyptian. Everything's Egyptian. They wear fezzes and turbans. All the little TV shows making mockery of Illuminati and Masons and all that stuff have them with fezzes in their turbans and all that, jewels on it, and you're still lost. How are you still lost? And so remember, you became black because black goes with Blackamoor. And they took a more off and left you black. Sometimes they leave the A on there and call you Blacka because you're black. Black like coal, black like tar. Oh yeah, you're Blacka. Should be telling you that you're Blackamoor. They should be saying Blackamoor history. It's the Blackamoor Museum. That's what they should be doing. Blackamoor Entertainment TV. That's what it should be saying. But if they say that, then the spell will be lifted and they're in trouble. Now this is the key. This is key now. The African blacks, who's he talking about? If he says the African blacks, who would you say, just put it in the chat, who would you say he's talking about when he says the African blacks? Who's he talking about? Where are the people that he's talking about? Like, where are they in the world when he says African blacks? Yeah. We'll just wait for Morris to put their little answers in the chat. This is why our people, this is why we can't make it. Because we want to be everything except ourselves. We want to be everybody except ourselves. We just don't want to be ourselves. Right. I missed the question. Okay. So the question, is when he says the African blacks, who is he talking to? What geographical landmass are African blacks on that he's talking to right now? He gets on the mic and he says, to the African blacks, who should be turning around and listening? Right. Northwest and Southwest of Maxim. Oh yeah, I don't think there's a wrong answer, by the way, for the shy people who think, oh my God, I'm going to put the answer, then he's going to rip me to shreds. No, there's no wrong answer. It's just a question thrown out there. When he says the African blacks, who's he talking to? Who are the African blacks? Right, so he goes on. Having had even this name taken from them, must contend for recognition as Moors. Must contend for recognition as Moors. Doesn't that mean the only way you're going to be recognized is if you get recognized as Moors? Isn't that what's being said here? Isn't that what's being said? Right. The African blacks, having had even this name taken from them, must contend for recognition as Moors. And if you're a contender, then that means somebody else has it too. So the question is, well, if they got it, how come you don't have it? Why do you have to contend for recognition as Moors, as if Moors isn't your name originally? Who are the people that should contend for recognition as Moors? All these Moors said it in the chats. The Asiatics from North America, the ones who get a new name every 30 or so years on this continent, Kunta, a fiction, Asiatics of North America. He's talking to Moors, indigenous people, maybe Africans, Kunta, dark skin, copper skin beings across the planet, north, south, northwest, Amexem. He's talking to all of these people who are classified by these fictions. Remember, it's just like with Dr. Ben talking all that black BS, right? It's just like with Dr. Ben talking all that black, whatever. Right? But then in his lectures, he's talking about, we were calling ourselves Moors. Well, if he's saying we were calling ourselves Moors, then maybe we're tripping. We're overthinking. Our people are black. Our people are black. We don't know what we're talking about. Chancellor Williams doesn't know what he's talking about. Our people are black, and that's that. Let's see what else we have here. Let's see what else we have here. This is America and England, 1558 to 1776, by Joseph E. Hillick. Englishmen actually describe Negroes as black, an exaggerated term which in itself suggests that the Negro's complexion had powerful impact upon their perceptions. Even the people of North Africa seemed so dark that Englishmen tended to call them black and let further refinements go by the broad. Blackness became so generally associated with Africa that every African seemed a black man. In Shakespeare's day, the Moors, including Othello, were commonly portrayed as pitchy black, and the terms Moor and Negro were used interchangeably. The Moors, including Othello, were commonly portrayed as pitchy black. Pitchy black. Pitch is tar. Tar is black. That's descriptive. But the people are known as Moors. The proper noun is Moors. The only way that you get the adjective is if you put it before more. Other than that, you can't use it. Because remember, Chancellor William told you that eventually black was taken off of blackamoor. And what did they do? They stuck our people with black and stopped calling them Moors. Which is why the terms Moor and Negro were used interchangeably. Because Negro is Frederick Blumenbach and them. And again, that's descriptive. If somebody's Negro is saying they're black in Spanish. So Negro and black are the same. They're used interchangeably because of description, but they're not using interchangeably for identity. The identity is more. The description is Negro, black man, African, Indian, Native American, and whatever other stuff that they want to make up that our people are going to adopt as that's their identity. With curious inconsistency, however, Englishmen recognized that Africans south of the Sahara were not at all the same people as the much more familiar Moors. Sometimes they referred to Negroes as black Moors to distinguish them from the peoples of North Africa. During the 17th century, the distinction became more firmly established, and indeed, writers came to stress the difference in color, particularly because they delighted in correcting their predecessors, and partly because Negroes were being taken up as slaves, and Moors increasingly were not. Negroes were being taken up as slaves, and the Moors were not taken up as slaves. Because do you need more than that? You're still not convinced? If the Negro was taken up as a slave, so was the black. If the Negro was taken up as the slave, so was the black. Because those are the same. They're wardship names. They're not identities of human beings. That's why the Moors could not be taken up as slaves. Because the Moors have their own nationality. You're not going to make Moors Slavic. You can't make Moors Slavic. Because Moor is an identity. The only way they can make Moors Slavic is by fooling the Moors into thinking they're not Moors. Now anybody could assume and call you whatever they want. It's real interesting. It's real interesting. When you look at it, and remember, this is just for the two in the back. We don't care about the masses. Remember, that was America and England by Joseph H. Hillick. America and England, Joseph H. Hillick. This is Buffon's Natural History, Volume 4, by George Leclerc de Buffon. George Louis Leclerc de Buffon. Buffon's Natural History, Volume 4. Accepting the flat nose, therefore, these people had nothing in common with the Negroes. The natives of Africa in the same latitude with these islands are Moors and are very tawny, but who belong as well as the islanders to the race of the whites. The inhabitants of Cape Blanc are Moors who follow the law of Mohammed and who wander about like the Arabians in a quest of pasture for their horses, camels, oxen, goats, and sheep. The Negroes with whom they traffic give them 8 or 10 slaves for a horse and 2 or 3 for a camel. It is from these Moors that we procure gum arabic, which they dissolve in their milk. They scarcely ever eat any meat and never destroy their cattle unless dying or sickness of old age. The Moors are separated from the Negroes by the river Senegal. They live on the north side and are only tawny, but the Negroes who reside on the south are absolutely black. The Moors had an erratic life, while the Negroes occupy villages. The former are free and independent. The latter have tyrants who hold them in slavery. The Moors are short, meager, of a disagreeable aspect, but ingenious and subtle. The Negroes are tall, bulky, and well-made, but simple and stupid. The country inhabited by Moors is sandy and sterile, where verdure is to be seen in very few places. That inhabited by Negroes is rich, abounding in pasturage, in millet, in trees always green, though few bear any fruit fit for food. In some places, both to the south and north of the river, we find a species of men called foolies or foulies, Foulies, who seem to form a shade between the Moors and the Negroes, and whom it is possible are mulattoes, produced by a coalition of the two nations. The Foulies are not black like Negroes, yet darker than the Moors. They are more civilized than the former. They follow the laws of Muhammad and are hospitable strangers. Now again, when you go study, the natives of Africa are not pale people. As soon as these things start thinking natives of Africa are pale people, they already have you under European colonization. You're done for. Your mind already belongs to them. If you really think natives of Africa are some pale people, when you study law, you realize that black and white and all these stuff are adjectives. But in law, they're statuses. And the black status and the white status are relative to good and evil. When you claim the black status that you think is identity, you're telling the world you're evil. And when you claim the white status, you're claiming to the world you're pure. And remember, law is everywhere because law is universal. There's universal laws that no one can challenge. So law is everywhere. So law is what we should be looking at majority of the time, how things look at from a law perspective. Whether it's a universal law perspective or a commercial law perspective or a common law perspective or indigenous law perspective or a constitutional law perspective or a de facto law perspective, or laws everywhere. So the race of whites, don't get caught in your mind to think that they're talking about some pale people. Because Moors aren't pale people. We just showed you that in Chancellor Williams. Just saw it. You can't get away from it. People are going to talk crazy. And then you're going to think that they're talking about some modern Europeans when they're not. Right. Dr. Ben, black man and his family. Note that there were 3 types of Moors referred to in the history of African. The so-called Negro rule in Spain from 711 to 1485. The Blackamoors, many of whom went to South Ireland with the Spaniards, the Moors, the Arabian Moors from Arabia. The first 2 were indigenous African or so-called Negro stock. So-called? Why do you say they're so-called? Because that's not the identity. You think Dr. Ben didn't know? He had a Moorish doctorate. He had a Moorish doctorate. What do you mean he didn't know? What do you mean he didn't know? If he's going to say so-called Negro, then he definitely knew. It's a lot. We know that it's a lot. We know it's a lot. It's very evident. We know. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Accept it, leave it alone. It's your will. Just don't say that you weren't told. If any more want to get on here, if they got something to say for correcting Black History Month, just push the button and say your piece. Been on here for 1:15, so we got a little time left. So just push the button. If you have any questions, you can push the button, get on here, ask your question. All right. We got to talk about the Black Mexicans. There are no Black Mexicans. Those are Moors, dark-skinned people. Once you put black there, you just killed them. Because black's not an identity. That was the whole point of everything that we were talking about for an hour. Right? As soon as you say Black Mexicans, you just killed them. So you could just say Mexicans. When you say Mexicans, we already know. For example, it wasn't Mexico, but when we went to Springfield, the last time we went to Springfield, at the lecture, there was a Latin-speaking Moor there who knew that he was a Moor. So a Latin-speaking Moor, and him and his boys got pulled over by the highwayman. Right? And, you know, they got them all out of the car and all that stuff. And they start going down, let me see your license or whatever. Right? Everybody's giving a license. The Moor starts talking about, you know, I'm indigenous. I don't have nothing to do with this. I'm just here. You know what I mean? That ain't got nothing to do with me. So you don't got a license? No, I mean, I wasn't driving. I don't need to show anything. I was just here. They took him and put him over on the side and dealt with the other three Latin-speaking Moors who didn't say that they're Moors. They're given licenses and all that. So on the ride home, they're talking about the situation, and all of them are showing off their tickets. And they're all showing off tickets. You know, it was just some BS, nothing crazy, right? Got some BS tickets, but all three of them got tickets. And then one guy got 2 tickets. So the 2-ticket guy is breaking down how the highwayman told him that the reason he got 2 tickets because they couldn't give the Moor one. The highwayman told this Latin-speaking Moor who didn't know that he was a Moor. He was playing, you know, black games. Latino games or whatever. Latino guy said that the highwayman gave him 2 tickets because they couldn't give the Moor a ticket. And that was 4 years ago or something. Probably longer than that. Can you explain Moorish history? Moorish history is the most unspoken history amongst the African histories. And Moorish history is the only history that the European colonists, Zionists, and whoever else that's playing rulership over people right now. Moorish history is the only history that they try to make belong to some other race of people. Moorish history is the only history that touches everywhere in the world. If you go to Iceland, there's Moorish stuff there. If you go to New Zealand, there's Moorish stuff there. If you go to, Philippines, there's Moorish stuff there. If you go to America, there's Moorish. If you go to Europe, there's Moorish. If you go to the continent, there's Moorish. It's everywhere. The only history. So when we look at what is Moorish history, just like they said in the chat, Moorish history is world history. Right? And the disoriented ones are the ones who are calling themselves Negro, Black, Nation of Gods, Indigenous tribes, Hebrew, 5%er, Rasta, Black Power, consciousness, New Age, occult. That's the disoriented. Right. The disoriented ones are the ones who don't know themselves. What are some texts or books I could reference? Go to rvbaypublications.com, buy every book from there. And then go to khalifamedia.com and buy every book from there. Start there if you want to buy books. If you want a book reference. If you want a book reference, keep in mind, book reference. You're going to go to rvbaypublications.com. rvbaypublications.com. rvbaypublications.com and khalifamedia.com. And get every book that's on there, and you'll be all right. Right. Can you speak on the Tulsa bombing? Well, to speak on the Tulsa bombing, let's go to the origin of Tulsa first. So the origin of Tulsa is 1830s. And then, these Asiatics build this, city pretty much where everything was owned by our people. Everything was owned by our people. And it was just continuing to expand because we were involved in ourselves. We weren't concerned with anybody else. This goes on, and then it's growing so vast that it's starting to encroach on Europeans who were in these lands. That their stuff wasn't growing as fast as these niggers stuff. So of course, jealousy, whatever like that, and they bombed them and burned all their stuff down. Right? And then today they're talking about, Black Wall Street and the black people who used to whatever. What's really interesting is that in 1830 was the Trail of Tears. And the Trail of Tears was when all these quote unquote Indians were escaping persecution and set up in Tulsa. And then their history just stops. And then they start talking about Black Wall Street and some black whatever. No, those were the people from the Trail of Tears. And then if you go pre the Trail of Tears, they're talking about all these atrocities that Asiatics were going through in this land by modern Europeans and by their own who were in partnership with the modern Europeans. Then that's the slave trade that they talk about. With the blacks in slavery and brought over here on ships and whatever like that. Ain't no ships. They were just marching you up and down the Americas. Of course, they had their own working for them or working against them with the modern Europeans to do this slave stuff. And they did that. So the game is on our people. When we talk about Tulsa massacres and all that, Tulsa massacres and all that only happened because people were playing black games and white games. They weren't playing nation games. If they were playing nation games, they would have already went and scouted, and they would have knew that these Europeans are right over there, and they deserve some place to live too. Instead of encroaching on their stuff, how about we just build around them and keep this thing moving? Like goes right back to that thing that our people have, that they need a mansion with 80 rooms just for them. They need sneakers to the ceiling. They only have 2 feet. It's just a thing with our people. Right? They could have met with those Europeans, say, listen, the Europeans, we're back in power. I know what they told you about that, the South and all that stuff. That's some BS. Right? We were the slave. We were the masters. You were the slave. We realize you have your little plot right here. We're going to go that way and that way, not to infringe on your space. And then kept it moving. Because what happened? You encroach on somebody, they're gonna defend their thing. I ain't mad at them. I'm mad that they had so much brains to build a whole city that they couldn't pay off these Europeans or something. They had to be so egomaniac with their stuff that they got their stuff bombed. Because a raccoon trapped in a corner is gonna tear your face off. It doesn't care about, you think you're the man because you have a machete or something. Raccoon will tear your face off. Get stabbed and not die. The rubbery. You can squeeze through anything. They're like a big mouse. But they're vicious. And then that was the viciousness that they saw. The viciousness that they experienced. Kill people, hang them on a tree, sit there, look at it, bring their children to see and all that. That's vicious. Then the other side of it are the ones who didn't want to be free. Remember I said the Moors were free, and then the Negroes had a tyrant that put them in slavery. Not a slave master, a tyrant put them in slavery. So you already know that they're messed up in the head if they're talking about. You already know that they're messed up in the head if they're talking like that. Okay. Oh yeah, and then there was about 50 quote unquote Black Wall Streets. Yep, and more said in the chat. At Tulsa wasn't bombed, only Greenwood district. Only a district was bombed. Because there was about 50 Black Wall Streets. Then you talk about the Chicago Moors. What do you mean the Chicago Moors? Is there a time frame? Because talking about Chicago Moors is that's vast. You can't talk about Chicago Moors. You don't got time for all that. When you talk about Chicago Moors, you gotta talk about Drew Ali. You gotta talk about all the people who are around him. And you gotta talk all the successions that came after him. Then you have to talk about Jeff Ford and L. Ruckins and all them. You gotta talk about them. And then you gotta talk about the ones who were running the numbers and all that stuff. You gotta talk about them because they were Moors too. Right? The whole gangster stuff and all that. All that stuff was Moorish. Right? Just like you're talking with, Scarface. That was a modern European. You thought Scarface was a modern European? He's the same black Mexicans that you're talking about earlier. They just use a pale guy, so it mess with your head. They're dark skin. Did you see his sister's hair? Didn't she have an afro in the stuff? You didn't realize his sister had an afro? You didn't realize? They're nigger naps. Everything's there. Everything's there in our face. We just miss it. We just miss it. But we miss it because we've been playing the black game so much, and then that blinds you to really what is going on. The more you play the black thing, the more you don't know jack about, not just about yourself, but about what's going on all around you. That's why it's immediate that we need to get rid of the black whatever. It's immediate. Like, it has to be let go. And again, we're only talking to the two in the back, because the masses are not going to go there. The masses love enslavement. Spiritual, mental, social, economic, educational, you name it. If it's enslavement, our people are down. Right? I need some land. I know you're not floating right now. I know you live somewhere that's on land right now. Like, I live on in an apartment that's on land. And the land that is on is Morocco. The land that the building I live in is on is Morocco. That's the land that it's on. But Morocco is under occupation. So you might hear them in the news and newspapers and the whatever talk about Canada and all that stuff. But Canada's not, that's not the name of a country. That's a fiction. There's no such thing as Canada. That's not real. That's not real. Right? American's not a nationality. America's a continent. And America is descriptive. American are the copper-colored natives who were in the Americas before Europeans. So when you say you're American, that's not a nationality. That's why Noble Drew Ali, who's Cherokee, remember Noble Drew Ali's Cherokee, and he told the Moors that we're Moorish American. That the Moorish ties us to our ancient foremothers and forefathers. Now again, if your grandmother is Black American and American is the copper-colored natives who were here, and colored means fake. Copper is an element that's not a people. Black is an adjective, that's not a people. Your grandmother was a Moor that they will identify or that they will misnomer as Black American from Grenville, Mississippi. As soon as you say Black, you kill them. Because Black is not the identity of anybody. Yes, grandma was Aboriginal and Indigenous. Yes, grandma was native to the land. Yes, grandma had dark skin. No, grandma wasn't Black. No, grandma wasn't American. Grandma was a Moor. That's how you have to look at it. If you're not looking at it like that, then you're just playing yourself, because Black is a fiction. And you can't play that game with Moors. We're not going there. We're not going there because that's incompetence. The fact is, grandma's a Moor. Period. Well, she never called herself Moor. She never called herself God either. But she's that. Right now, listen now. Now listen. She was like a light yellow. Right? Think about it. Right? And none of this is not personal against you or whatever. This is for anybody who listens to this. Right? This is for anybody who listens to this. This is not a personal against you. Don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed. You might see people that talk in the chat talk shit or whatever. Don't worry about that. It's not an attack. Right? You see laughing emojis and all that stuff. It's not an attack against you. It's about because we study, we know how crazy the concept is that our people are in. Right? So think about this. You just said that your grandma is Black American. And then now you're saying she's light yellow, which is a contradiction. Because if you put yellow and black next to each other, they're not the same. They don't blend into each other easy. Right? Saying that to say, look how confusing that scenario is. Right? Step out of yourself and listen to yourself, and then go back in yourself so you could see that what yourself said was pretty crazy. Grandma's Black, but she's yellow, light yellow. Could black be yellow? Could yellow be black? No, they can't. All that confusion is because we should just be saying we're Moors. There wouldn't be that confusion. Right? They're gonna write books about the Delaware Moors, and they're gonna show you Europeans. Who these Europeans, they call themselves Moors, and they're indigenous to over here. They look like modern Europeans. Complexion is social engineering. People aren't judged by the color of their skin. That's what Dr. Martin, all our people follow him or whatever. That's what he said, right? Not to be judged by the color of his skin, but then you keep calling yourself color of his skin and then get judged by it, and then you're mad. Why are you mad? You're using the color of your skin as your identity. Right? I've been doing research on the Jews in the Bible. I thought we were Jacobites. Jacobites, Canaanites, Amorites, Amalekites, any of the ites, Sodomites, they were our people. Whatever of the ites, all of them were our people. And Jacob is Yakub. And Yakub is a mad scientist. You know, the guy with the coat, one eye bigger than one eye, and the teeth all messed up and all that. Loincloth scientist. Madman. Making races and all types of madness. That's Jacob. Yakub. Everybody knows Yakub. Everybody knows about the mad scientist and what he did. All we're on is that we're Moors. We're not going anywhere else. if people want to go into other stuff and calling themselves Black Africans and Black Americans and Black this and that, no problem. They can go ahead. But their BS that they've been going through is going to continue. The BS is going to continue. And you have to look at it like you're the one that's breaking the generational curse that's been put on your family from grandma. If she told you herself, yeah, we're Black Americans, grandma had mental problems. Like grandma had mental problems. What's the breakdown of Bay and L? This is easy. Just Google the meaning of El Bay de Al Ali, and a website's gonna come up giving you the whole breakdown of everything. I asked my grandpa about the Moors, and he associated with Masons. Yeah, but was the association positive or negative? If he just associated it with Masons, then that doesn't mean anything. He should associate the Moors with Masons. But what was the perspective of the association? If the association was, oh yeah, Brown, just push the button. Just push the button and come on here with your exonym, whatever. Right? If Grandpa's associating Moors with Masons from a perspective that the Masons gave the Moors something, that's a fiction. Because Masons are modern. The true Masons built pyramids and all that stuff. And they weren't talking about lay down in the coffin and hide the hand and all that. Right? Yeah, Baal is a Canaanite god, and the Moors are Canaanites. So Masons worship Baal because they honor the Moors. The Moors are their god. That's why they honor Baal. That's why they honor Baphomet. Because that's their god. Their god is not some stuff out in the sky. That's not their god. The Masons' god isn't the god of the people who they're playing games with. The Masons know that the Asiatic woman's god. That's why they made a lodge after her called the Order of the Eastern Stars. The shrine of the Shriners is a Moor. The shrine of the Shriners is a Moor. Yeah, there's a connection, but it's not negative. There's definitely a connection between Moors and Masons, but it's not negative. The question that should be asked is why isn't there a connection between blacks and Moors? How come the Masons are smart enough to figure this out, but the blacks, the Negroes, the colors, the Africans, the Nation of Islams, the Hebrew Israelites, the whoever else, the Kemetic whoever's, how come they can't make a connection? How come they're always in denial that we're Moors? How come? Why are they always in denial that we're Moors? But these Europeans are ruling the world. They're telling them, oh yeah, they're the Illuminati or whatever like that. But they're dressing up like Moors. They got fezzes on. They got turbans on. They got bow ties and suits and sashes, and checkered floors, and all this. All that's Moorish. Pillars, worshiping pillars. All that's Moorish, and pillars are Moorish. Right? How are they antichrist? How are they antichrist when they're called Illuminati, which means illuminated, and Jesus was illuminated? Christ was illuminated. That's why he had a halo, because he's Illuminati. Illuminati is not something evil. You keep thinking like a modern European because you haven't studied enough. Illuminati is not evil. Illuminati means illuminated. And illuminated are the people who went into the ancient chambers or whatever like that and read all the books on the master's shelf. And the master was the Moor. The Moor with the turban, with the big chair, with the leather seats and all that. With the lion's head on the back. Right? We know it's a lot. It's a lot to digest. It's a lot to accept. You know, we get it. We get it. But you have to accept it. You just have to accept it. Don't get mad. Don't get frustrated. Take anything that I say on here and prove it wrong. And then when you find out that I'm wrong, leave a message under this video that, hey, you're wrong. Here's the proof that I'm wrong. And then we'll do a live and correct the wrong. But I know I'm not wrong. Nobody could tell me I'm wrong. Because I know exactly what I'm talking about. I know. I'm not assuming. I don't need books to prove something to me. I know. Big difference. Like, I know. So because I know, so it's a whole different thing. Just because I know. Just because I know. And I get it. It's a lot. It is a lot. I get it. The Bible for the Moors is the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Moorish Holy Temple of Science. That's the Bible for the Moors. The Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple. Divinely prepared by Noble Drew Ali. That's the Quran for the Moors. It's just that simple. Accept it or cast it away. And then you just Google search that. Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It'll come up, and then go read that. And tell me what's wrong with that. Find me something wrong with that whole book. And then come back right to this video. And then go in the comments and put what you say, what you think, what you research is wrong with the Moors Bible. the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Brown, brown, brown. It's crazy how you never pushed the button, Brown. Crazy. Can't believe you didn't. Shame on you, Brown. Shame. Shame on you. Shame on you. I was just cussing you out in mute, Brown. I didn't want you to hear that. I didn't want you to hear that. I wanted to be peaceful on the holy day. Peace and love to all the Moors. Keep studying, Brown. You're gonna get there eventually. Keep studying. But right now, you're not there. You're just weird. You're a dweeb. Honors to all the Moors. Bando Hawcom, you could send a message to canaanlandguide@gmail.com if you have questions. Canaanland, just like Canaanland Moors on the screen. Canaanland Guide, GUIDE, @gmail.com. Islam, Brother Salim.
Islam Sheik. What's good,
Happy
brother?
holy day. Happy holy day. Everything's good.
Happy
What do you
holy
say?
day, boy. Hey, happy holy day, boy. Islam to all the Moors in the chat. Peace. Supreme honor to Prophet Noble Jew Ali. Yo, real quick, Sheik, if since the Moor was asking about our spiritual book, etc. I just want to read that opening in the Holy Quran.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
All right. So know thyself and thy father God Allah. The genealogy of Jesus, which means justice, by the way, with 18 years of the events, life, works, and teachings in India, Europe, and Africa. These events occurred before he was 30 years of age. These secret lessons are for all of those who love Jesus, i.e., justice, and desire to know about his life, works, and teachings. Dear readers, do not falsely use these lessons. They are for good, peace, happiness for all those that love Jesus. Dear mothers, teach these lessons to your little ones that they may learn to love instead of hate.
Peace, more. We're not hearing you.
Okay, hold tight.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. I was getting feedback on myself. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, bet. Uh, let's see where I was at. The opening of the Holy Quran. So, dear fathers, by these lessons you can set your house in order, and your children will learn to love instead of hate. These lessons of this pamphlet are not for sale, but for the sake of humanity, and I am a prophet, and the servant is worthy of his hire, you can receive this pamphlet at expense. The reason, I'm going to slow down on this part for you real quick. The reason these lessons have not been known is because the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine had these secrets and kept them back from the outside world. And when the time appointed by Allah, they loosened the keys and freed the secrets. And for the first time in ages, have these secrets been delivered in the hands of the Muslims of America. All authority and rights of publishing of this pamphlet of 1927. This is our spiritual guidance book, and you can tie it to a Bible, and you can tie it to the Quran, and you can tie it to anybody else's spiritual writings, because why? They all came from one spiritual system. I yield Islam. Peace and love, Grand Sheik. Islam to
Peace,
the Moors.
Islam. Give thanks. This dude didn't say his nationality is Latin, did he? Don't worry who we're up against, Bando. Don't worry who we're up against. It's not about who we're up against, because our biggest enemy is ourselves. I don't see any Ashkenazis on here trying to talk about debating the Moors. Only our people. Because Ashkenazis, they're going to be at the Wailing Wall with their fez on. They're going to have their little curly stuff that the Jews got. You know, they're pretending to be you, right? That's why they got the curly. That's why they make the hair curly. You know, they're pretending to be the real Jews. So don't get it messed up. Happy holy day to all the Moors worldwide. Honors to our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for all the great work that he did. Supreme honors to Noble Drew Ali, the mastermind. Honors to all the Els, Bays, Days, Als, and Alis. Honors to all the mothers. Honors to all the Moors in the chat. And don't forget, Love, Truth, Peace, Freedom, Justice Tour. Email canaanlandguide@gmail.com if you want to get down and set up something in your area. We got February, Aurora, Colorado. April 27th, Springfield, Massachusetts. May 4th, Phoenix, Arizona. I know the Moors who travel, definitely will probably see you there. All the other Moors, peace and love, honors, Islam, and to all, a good night. Happy holy day. Honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Islam.
Northgate, H2O flow, Sheik, Canaanland Moorish, Release Fall, Shalon Davis, salute. Hot house. Check it. They say they wanna learn, they only debate. Referencing the truth, trust me, they only sound great. Study nationality before you question my estate. I'm not a minority, why you so late? Majority rules, here comes the test. Fact, that's my hand in the form of a V on the chest. That's a womb that is blessed like a moon and a crest. Major forever, infinite mindset. Major from birth, that's a seed in process. I'm a Moor that is easy to digest. Competent, never tyrannous. That is my land, never vacant. Sacred traditions, petitions for what you're not Jamaican. Westmoreland to Portmore, everybody needs more. If you please more, Following the apostle, we should read more. I see the unseen more. We more. That's a fact. Canaanland.
They say they want to learn, complain classes are too long. Don't want it on a phone call, energy too strong. Get it from the wrong source, now they way off course. Think they must be Muslim and give up on all sports. Should give up the red meat, must give up on all porks. Won't be yelling haram when the bottles are uncorked. Eating with the spoon, use forks for tuning. Eating humble pie, no ego ballooning. Samson 2 caterpillars, got him cocooning. As the full moon hung, spiral energy moving. Up through the crown chakra, energy shooting. And told me upload classes before live YouTubing. 16,000 subscribers, 20% consuming. 80% troll pretending to be tuned in. Comment on every video, pushing the thumbs down. We'll push the link when we live just like a clown. Pouring in the incompetence, always debating. Dissing Drew Ali, but won't give their location. His image on the black banner, that's placation. Just get him out of here, Yusuf yells in frustration. We know they're playing games, we're not berating. Calling 911, scimitars penetrating. In defense of prophets and mothers abused. And newly awakened Moors, amused and confused.